couple of proclamations that we want to present. And the first one is a proclamation recognizing Firefighter Rescue Squad and First Responder Week. September is the month in which 9/11 occurs, and 9/11 is the day in which we always remember those members of emergency services. So I'm going to ask at this time Commissioner Jones if he would present this proclamation on behalf of the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Firefighter Rescue Squad and First Responder Week, September 5th through the 11th. Whereas firefighters, rescue squad members, and first responders provide valuable services through their assistance to the citizens of their communities in Jackson County during times of needs and crisis. And whereas they respond to emergencies without hesitation, when the call of duty arises, and tirelessly give of their time and energy in humanitarian efforts, making themselves available every hour of the day, every day of the year. And whereas responders have physical strength, stamina, extensive training, courage, and selfless concern for the welfare of others. And where it is appropriate to recognize the duties and services that firefighters, rescue squad members, and first responders perform by observing September 5th through September 11th as Firefighter Rescue Squad and First Responder Week in Jackson County. Now, therefore, the Jackson County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim September 5th through 11th as Firefighter Rescue Squad and First Responders Week in Jackson County, and encourages all residents to take time to show the volunteers how much their service is valued in the county.
We've had the proclamation presented. Is that in the form of a motion, Commissioner?
Yes, sir.
All right, have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the proclamation, please declare by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And so many of our firefighters, rescue squads, and first responders are out today in these elements working. We had in hopes to have some here to receive the proclamations. But like I said, with the emergency situation present with flooding and flood warnings, they are out doing their jobs today. So we wish them well. Let's give them a round of applause, even though they're not here. Our second proclamation is declaring September as Jackson County Opioid Awareness Month. And we all know that the opioid epidemic has run through our nation and has hit every community, and even here in Jackson County. And I've asked Commissioner Stribling if he would to present this proclamation. Commissioner Stribling has a strong passion for this topic and finding ways to help with addictions and to lessen the impact on our community. So Commissioner Stribling.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, this hits home, and I'd also like to thank Sheriff Hall and all the deputies for the hard work you guys have accomplished in the past few weeks. It means a lot. Declaring September as Jackson County Opioid Awareness Month. Whereas the opioid epidemic, overdose deaths, and substance misuse pose a threat to life, health, and well-being of Jackson County residents. And whereas more than 90,000 Americans died from overdose during the 12-month period ending September 2020, a record number, while the COVID-19 pandemic exacerbated the opioid epidemic. And whereas 65 community naloxone, how do you pronounce that? Naloxone reversals were performed in Jackson County in 2020 alone. And whereas 19 Jackson County residents lost their lives to opioid overdoses, and 42 residents were rushed to the emergency room due to opioid overdose in 2020 alone. And whereas the opioid epidemic has contributed to the rise in serious and costly health consequences. And whereas the opioid epidemic has contributed to a significant rise in the number and rate of hospitalizations associated with drug withdrawal in newborns, and a rise in the number of children in foster care. And whereas the opioid epidemic, overdose deaths, and substance misuse cause pain, suffering, and loss to individuals, families, and communities that can never be measured. Now, therefore, Be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Jackson County that September is Jackson County Opioid Awareness Month.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. You put that in the form of a motion.
Yes, sir.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any question or discussion? Now, all in favor of adopting the proclamation, let it be signified by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We also want to congratulate and thank all those that worked so hard on this endeavor. And in the months to come, we'll be talking more about what we can do to continue this work and enhance it. For this time, we'll take a look at our agenda. Are there any suggested changes to today's agenda? If not, then do I have a motion then to approve the agenda as presented?
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any question or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next is the approval of the minutes. We just have one set of minutes to approve today. That would be our regular meeting minutes from August the 3rd, 2021. After having a chance to review those in advance as distributed by the clerk. What's the pleasure of the board?
I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Okay, have a motion to accept. Is there a second? Second. Any question or discussion? All right, all in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next is administrative reports. I don't have a report today. Commissioner Deets, we'll start with you today. Commissioner Woody.
I had the privilege of representing Jackson County at the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners annual convention, which was a state convention, and it was in Wilmington this past week. And I want to say that there were a couple of things. There was a lot of information. Obviously, I went to some very good workshops, but two things that kind of stood out to me was we did have some talk about the opioid settlement and the money that's coming. And I wanted to commend our attorney, Heather Baker, for keeping us up to speed on that information. I realized after the presentation that I already was aware of all the information they gave us. And that was in large part thanks to her diligence and willingness to communicate that clearly with us. And secondly, the whole convention was really an opportunity to bring people together from very diverse, kind of a microcosm of the state. There's lots of representation from different ethnicities, races, obviously areas of the state and political persuasions. But everyone was unified in the desire to serve the people of Jackson, of the whole state, and each obviously of their counties as well. And so I was just so pleased to be able to participate and represent you all.
For your representation. Commissioner Jones.
Just a quick thank you to all the folks who was out on the 13th and 14th picking up trash. I noticed on the way down here from Cashers, you can see a much more improvement particularly through Colway. So hats off to all those volunteers.
Cleaning up the mountains. Absolutely. Commissioner Strickland.
I would just like to give a big thank you again to Chip Hall and the deputies. Also for Jackson County Rescue yesterday, along with Qualla Fire Department, Silva Fire Department, Jackson County Sheriffs, everybody involved with what was thought to be a person floating down the river yesterday. Thank goodness it ended up not being someone. It was a log, most likely. I was hauling River Road yesterday, and I've never seen the river that high in my 20 years of being here. But just like to give a big thanks to them for their hard work and their support.
All right, Mr. Manager, County Manager's report.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I hope everybody's doing well. Today's report is, first item is the standard information in regards to zoning and building permits. As you can see, the planning department issued one commercial zoning permit and one renovation addition permit in the month of July. Code enforcement issued 1 commercial permit and 3 renovation addition permits in the month of July. Attachment 2 shows some basic census information. In 2020 census information is starting to be released now. The information generally available at this point is mainly in data form. The North Carolina State Demography Office and the U.S. Census Office will be organizing this information. Excuse me, we'll be organizing this information over the next couple of months. I talked to Planning Director Mike Poston, and he feels like by the time we get to September's work session, that he will have received enough information to give a formalized report to the board. So, for example, he got raw data today for the census tracts in Jackson County. So he'll be able to take that information along with all the other information, come back and give a formalized report to the board. But what you have included in your package is generalized information in regards to the census data. The next item is Jackson County has selected Evergreen Solutions to conduct its compensation study. I provided some information in your packets in regards to Evergreen Solutions. The first 2 items just gives a little bit of background of their company. I wanted to go over the client list. The goal was to have recommendations to the Board of Commissioners by December 2020. If you recall, the Board of Commissioners set aside a certain amount of funds this year for implementation of a salary study to be conducted. The idea being is implementation would occur mid-fiscal year for us sometime in January, maybe February. Evergreen Solution is a firm based out of Florida with extensive national experience. They also have experience in North Carolina and also specifically in Western Carolina, places such as Buncombe County, Haywood County, and Transylvania County. So they do have experience, and they just conducted Haywood County last year. And so I just wanted to go through, if you look at your packets, you'll see that they have quite a bit of K through 12. They do a lot of studies for school systems. What I did, I highlighted just the North Carolina system so that you wouldn't have to search through it like I did. But if you go on down, they have local government experience in North Carolina, counties and towns. But even past that, they've done things for the city of Raleigh, for the state of North Carolina. They've done studies for multiple council on governments. So they do have extensive experience in these compensation studies. The next item of discussion. Scroll past the 8 pages of their client list. You'll see I've put in your packets the information you've already received in regards to our Citizen Academy 2021. We have received at this point 10 applications. Our goal is really a minimum of 20. We'd like to see 25. Our due date has actually expired. If you go and look at the original timeline there, our application deadline was August 12th. We're due to start this program September 9th. So what I'm doing is I'm extending the deadline for applications till September 2nd. We're going to go ahead and reach out to the current applicants and let them know that we're proceeding forward, and we'll provide them the detailed information so they can get their schedules ready. But any assistance you can provide, we're just trying to get people to apply for this. We really do need around 20 people because this, of course, Commissioner Woody, you participated in it. This is a lot of resources and a lot of time from county officials putting this on. So I would just encourage people to take a look at this. This is online, and if they're interested, please apply. We're going to move forward in September.
John, is this available for all ages? School kids or?
Yeah, we generally target, I really prefer 18 and over. This
Okay.
isn't designed for certain places and so forth. It's not necessarily designed for underage.
So high school above.
High school about 18.
Till 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the board, we had these discussions before, and there is some validity to trying to set up programs for high school students, but those generally tend to be less intensive and less time consuming. And if we're ever go down that route with high schoolers, it really needs to be formatted in a different way. And then, jumping to the next, I'll go past Citizens Academy information. Next item, construction projects. Our Animal Rescue Center, Green Energy Park, is about 25% complete through July. Rain is causing significant delays in completing items such as retaining walls, storm sewer, and walking paths. Other delays are related to material issues. For example, our metal building package is not due now to be delivered until October or November. Honestly, the demand is so great right now that the supplier is basically telling our contractor, well, if you find it faster, go somewhere else. So the reality is we're at the mercy of some of these suppliers, and it really is going to impact our substantial completion date. And now we're moving weather dependent, material dependent. Now we're looking more towards March and April 2022 in regards to substantial completion. Remember, that's not moving date. That's substantial completion to get in the punch out and things of that nature. Next item, I do have the advertisement for bids up on the screen. The Fairview Concession Stand Press Box project is out to bid. Pre-bid meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, August 24th, 2021 at 3 p.m. on site. Bids will be due 11 a.m. Wednesday, September 15th at the Colowee Recreation Center. And again, this whole project itself, if you recall, we had a lot of conversations about trying to fit construction timelines in that best meet the needs of Little League and also the schools. But I just want to remind everybody that what I stated earlier, that's all dependent upon, people who submit their bids and dependent upon the other issues. We'll do the best we can not to impact other operations, but there are factors in these conversations that are not under our control. Hopefully we'll get at least 3 bidders. If we don't get 3 bidders in, then we'll have to go through the process again, and that will cost another month in time in regards to these projects. The last item is the request for qualifications for architectural services related to this facility. The Justice Administration Center has been issued. Interested firms have until 5 p.m. on Friday, September 3rd to submit their responses. I've also included the advertisement for this request for qualifications. As with both of these items, the bids for the concession stand area and the request for qualification for these services, there's a lot more information behind these requests. So if you know an architectural firm, somebody's interested in this, they need to follow through, get up with my assistant, Ms. Carrie Tucker, and she'll provide to them specifications necessary to respond to these requests for qualification. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Okay, any questions for the man?
I've got one, it's a short one. Mr. Adams, when do you think Evergreen will be finished with that study?
So our goal is to have a recommendation. I had it written here. I didn't say it out loud. The goal is to have our recommendations to the board in December of 2020. So we are proceeding forward now. There will be a slew of information that will be sent out to all of our operations in the next couple of weeks. And again, December, we're trying to get the information at the end of November. So we're presenting your options in December so that you can make decisions by late December with an implementation timeline of hopefully sometime in January. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for the manager? All right, next is our informal comments by the public. Has anyone signed up on the sign sheet?
No, sir.
I don't see anyone online. Anything changed on that online?
I haven't seen anybody.
Is there anyone here in the audience that would like to sign up to speak that did not get a chance to sign up? Make sure everybody has an opportunity. Okay, hearing none, then we will move on to our consent agenda. First item on the consent agenda is the finance report for July 2021. We'll recognize Ms. Fox, our finance director.
Good afternoon.
I'll go over the highlights for the month of July. The general fund revenues collected to date is $3,496,744. That's 4.88%. The expenditures were at $5,934,356. That's 9.14% budget. The expenditures at this point is $2,437,612 more than the revenues. The ad valorem taxes collected, $126,680. And the motor vehicle taxes, $150,677. The prior year taxes collected is $42,580. That's 4.73% budget. We received sales and use tax distribution in the month of July, which represented April sales. That amount is $449,206 more than we received this time last year. That's a 41.07% increase.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
That was for April.
That was for April sales. May sales are good too.
Is that historic?
It is. The Article 46 distribution for the month was $172,349.
And do those, and I guess this is easy to figure out with the math, do those all increase proportionally?
They did.
That's actually what's allowed you all to proceed forward with the funding of the safety project for the schools, is that increase.
The smallest percent we had during the year was 2%.
Yeah. It's amazing. You know, and there are some counties that are really struggling right now. with revenue. So,
The landfill disposal fees collected were $5,301, and this prior year disposal fees was $4,048. Also attached to the report is Bayette Health's fourth quarter finance report. They had a net income for the fiscal year, less than risk reserve of $14,446,010, and their spendable cash at year end was $10,525,106. And that report is attached. The growth revenues were continued to track, and environmental health is up 2.97 above where it should be for the month, the budgeted amount. So we're still seeing growth in all of those categories. Registered deeds is up 10.32%. That's 1.99% over the month. The general fund contingency balance at the end of July is $1,675,498. We did make some deductions from that for registered deeds, grounds, and administration for the month. Just want to answer any questions on the report.
Any questions about the report? Okay, item 2 is a budget ordinance amendment.
Budget ordinance amendment. It's a net increase of $566,371.45 in the general fund. That's from insurance settlements, a grant from the state of North Carolina for emergency management, some special child adoption assistance, North Carolina Public Health for the COVID-19 Enhanced and Detection Program, and fund balance appropriation. And from that fund balance appropriation, it's a carryover of SCC facility renovation and SCC fire range. And the one mistake in the budget on the Fall Fire Department, it was listed wrong, so this takes care of that too. Does that answer your questions on that?
Any questions about the budget ordinance amendment? Officer, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is item 3, our tax collector and refund reports for July 2021. We'll recognize Ms. Henson, our tax collector.
Yeah.
24 taxes collected for the month of July were $63,232. The delinquent taxes collected were $110,606. The total deposited for July was $177,855.17. And also for the month, there were overpayment refunds of $1,740.66 and releases of $556.03.
Not, then we have item 4, the tax settlement report. This would be for July the 1st, 2020 through June the 30th, 2021.
So the tax settlement for the county charges and credits for the year were $36,333,207.32. Of that, $440,289 was uncollected, and our collection rate for the year was 98.78%. The delinquent taxes for the county, the charges and credits were $2,196,004.21. $1,085,028 is uncollected. For the solid waste, charges and credits of $2,029,458.01, with $70,776.13 of that uncollected. And the delinquent solid waste was $203,750.80, $98,112.82 of that is uncollected. And the delinquent motor vehicle taxes were $54,731.90, $34,580.55 is uncollected.
Any questions?
Please, no.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we've heard all 4 items under the consent agenda. This time, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items together? All right, is there a second?
Second.
Any question or discussion concerning any of these items? All right, hearing none, I'll ask our clerk to call the roll. Yes.
Commissioner Woody,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart,
Yes.
Chairman Knapp.
Yes, motion carries. Next, we'll move into the new business items on our agenda for today. And the first is the ARPA grant project ordinance. This is the American Recovery Act funds. So at this time, we'll recognize Ms. Fox to highlight this grant project ordinance.
The grant project ordinance is from the funds that the county is receiving from the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. And this appropriates a budget for those funds. In summary, the total project amount will be $8,534,441. And the revenues will be from the CSLRF funds.
Is there a motion to approve this grant project ordinance?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, have a motion. Is there a second?
Second,
Any questions or discussions about the item?
the items, as far as the items 1 through 5, is number 1 priority, or they all equal in there?
They're all
Any other questions? Hearing none then, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Stewart,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Woody,
Yes.
Commissioner.
Yes.
Chairman Knapp.
Yes, motion carries. Next is item 6, the capital project ordinance, and this is concerning the school safety project. Ms. Fox.
the capital project ordinance for the public school safety project. The amount for the project is $7,409,447. And the revenues for that are anticipated from School Capital Reserve Fund 19 $3,400,000, and School Capital Reserve Fund 21, $4,009,447.
Is there a motion to approve the capital project ordinance for school safety project?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any question or discussion concerning this ordinance? Hearing none, then Madam Clerk, please call the roll, please.
Commissioner Deeds?
Yes.
Commissioner Woody?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Stridle?
Yes.
Chairman Knight?
Yes, motion carries. Next is item 7, the capital reserve resolution. This will be resolution R 21-28.
This capital reserve resolution, it is authorizing the appropriation of the funds from school capital reserve 19 and 21 funds. The school fund 19, $3,400,000, and the 21, $4,009,447. And it's authorizing the transfer of the $7,409,447 from the capital reserve funds to the capital project funds.
Big numbers,
I've seen a lot of them.
We have a motion from the board to approve this resolution.
I'll make a motion.
All right, motion to approve R 21-28. Is there a second?
Second.
Any question or discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll, please.
Commissioner Stridle?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Woody?
Yes.
Commissioner Deeds?
Yes.
Chairman Knight?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fox. Next is item 8. This is a request from the sheriff. This is in reference to awarding a sidearm to a retired employee. So Sheriff Hall, would you like to come forward and officially make the request? I think historically, when we do this under our authority to do so, the commissioners usually pony up and provide $1 each to pay for this item, item to be placed under, well, purchased so that we can give it to our retired.
I do appreciate that, Chairman and Commissioner. I think for being here today on such a nasty day, but what I come to you for today is Kim Hooper, our Chief Deputy, who recently retired. In years past, what we have done with our retirees, we usually give them their firearm as a little token of appreciation for their service to the citizens of Jackson County. And Chief Deputy Hooper was fortunate enough to retire here in good health. Then went home, wrecked his lawnmower, and he's got a broke leg.
Oh,
Yeah. So, yeah. Next say a little prayer for it. He had a lawnmower incident last week, broke his leg. Ended up at ICE, will have to have surgery on his leg, but he's home and in good spirits and healed now. It's like just give him his sidearm, just his appreciation for his 30 years of service to the citizens of Jackson County. And we can't just give it to him. We have to have the state law requires that the county has to make it surplus property. We have to purchase it. So,
and we've always raised the value. It's only $1 required, but we are willing to pay $5 for this surplus property.
Commissioner, I'll go ahead and hand this to Ms. Fox.
Ms. Fox, that's 5 more numbers you have to say.
Thank you. All right.
Well, do we have a motion? Let's make sure we've got the approval to do it.
I would appreciate the receipt.
Yeah, receipt list. Do we have a motion to declare this surplus and to set the price at $5?
I'd like to make a motion on that.
All right, we have a
Thanks.
motion. Is there a
Thanks.
second?
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded to declare this surplus, set the price at $5, and it'd be issued to Mr. Ken Hooper in appreciation for his years of service.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Deeds?
Yes.
Commissioner Woody?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Stridley?
Yes.
Chairman Knapp?
Yes, motion carries. You tell him he has to provide his own ammo.
There you go. I know him, and Commissioner Scribbins next door neighbors, so they probably looking for some mowing help.
Well, I'll help them out.
There you go.
I'm just glad that's because you talk about lawnmowers in the mountains. Thank God that's you. Broken leg's a good thing.
Yeah.
That could have been a lot worse.
Yes.
Yeah, it could have been a whole lot worse, so he's fortunate, and like I said, he's home and resting well and in good spirits, so we're thankful for that, we just take that the way he's starting to retire.
Yeah.
And while the sheriff is with us, the next item, item 9, is a request to transfer control of retired law enforcement canine officer. So we have a letter here, you see where Jax, one of our canines, has ended the career with the sheriff's office, and so Sheriff, you want to speak a little bit to this request?
Just tell you a little bit about Jax. Sir, Jax has been part of our sheriff's office family for over 10 years now. Jax was a rescue recovery dog that was converted into a article search and narcotics dog. He served us well, but like me, there's times catching up with him. He's slowing down, and it's about time to retire him. And Sergeant Reinhardt, who's been his handler for a number of years, is agreed to, they've spent all this time together. She'd like to see him throughout the end of his life. So I'm requesting that we go ahead and retire Jackson Services, Jackson County, and allow Sergeant Reinhardt to see Jackson throughout the remainder of his life on this side.
You've heard the request from the High Sheriff. What's the pleasure of this board?
I move that we accept this request as presented.
Okay, have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any question or discussion? Likewise, tell Sergeant Reinhardt that no dog food included. Any other question or comment? Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Stridley?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Woody?
Yes.
Commissioner Deeds? Chairman Knapp?
Yes, motion carries.
I do have one question, and this comes from the Citizens Academy when you gave us a demonstration about that dog. Well, it can attack, and how do they de-escalate those responses when that dog is retired?
Well, Jax was not a dog trained to do violence.
Oh,
It was
okay.
strictly a narcotics
Okay.
and article search dog.
Yes.
Now, probably next year, we'll be looking at retired scouts.
Oh,
Scouts going to be the chair.
yes,
That's
I
right.
know, I
Yeah.
saw
All
that.
blood to my arm.
Yeah,
They just handlers has to be very cautious.
sure.
That's something they don't, they can't untrain the dog. to do
Right.
that.
That's what I
It's
was
in
thinking.
them, but now,
Yeah.
continuous training, they operate off command, so the
Okay.
handler still has to work with them, make sure they stay obedient to their
Okay.
commands.
Yes.
I appreciate that, and, it's totally off subject, but what Commissioner Stevens said earlier yesterday, we have a large number of our volunteer public safety officials out on the river, and they put a violent effort in trying to make certain that there's nobody in that river. I like Commissioner Stevens, I appreciate their efforts out there. That was a large presence and a large number of our public safety officials, not only from Jackson County. The Eastern Band sent people, Mission Hospital sent a helicopter, so highway patrol sent personnel. So there's a lot of resources out there to try to make every effort to make sure there's nobody in that river. And I know emergency management coordinator Dillard would be here, but just give you an update on them early releases that Duke was doing. They've been able to cut them in half today, so our river has come down about 18 inches from last night to this morning, so
Good.
hopefully the early releases and all the rain comes allows some storage at the Duke Energy facilities that they can control throughout the night. So it's Commissioner, Emergency Management Dillard, Coordinator Dillard, I'm sure he'd be here to inform me, but he's currently in the process. The State Office of Emergency Management just activated a urban search and rescue and Swiftwater rescue team through the state, come to the western end of the state, they're actually stationed at Western Carolina University, so I'm sure that's got you tied up. So you see a lot of the out-of-county vehicles, it's probably part of the urban search and rescue Swiftwater team. Most of them comprise of fire and rescue personnel from the Greensboro Fire Department. They're gonna be coming into the area this second stage of the Cullowhee and CAF. That's a regional response team in case anything develops out of approaching storm. So I know that's off topic.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
I know Todd would be here to feed you if he wasn't busy. So thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you. Next is item 10, report to the citizens, and I want to first recognize our county manager and let him introduce Mr. Wilson and explain a little bit about what we're getting ready to see here as a presentation.
Yes, sir. We have, Mr. Matthew Wilson is here. He is, my intern. He is a management intern. I did reach out several years ago. I reached out to multiple institutions, Appalachian State University and Western Carolina University, and really reached out and asked professors there to truly identify their students and excellent students who hope to be in the management field one day. And so I did get recommendations from WCU and from the MPA program on Mr. Wilson. And then, although it just pained me, I ultimately did find that Mr. Wilson was the best of the applicants. So I did have to call in a WCU student to come in and help the county develop our our report to the citizens. But no, just to give a little background on this, started this internship program several years ago, and the benefits are twofold. One is that as a manager, I try to contribute back to my profession and try to develop future managers, not only within Jackson County, but across the state. And in return for us getting these interns in Jackson County, we try to develop a usable, a user-friendly, a readable report to the citizens. This is something that's new to Jackson County, at least in the past multiple years. And so for several years, we've had interns come in. They go and visit all the departments, and ultimately, with the approval of departments, they put together this report to our citizens. And I believe this will be a valuable resource to our community. I can tell you about Mr. Wilson, that I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from our departments. Each time he visited our departments and organizations, he prepped himself, he prepared himself, he read information about their operations and went in there with questions and showed respect to our department heads, and then ultimately, I believe, helped produce a good product for Jackson County. So this finishes Mr. Wilson's internship, is basically presenting his report to the Board of Commissioners and ultimately to be accepted as a report to the citizens. So having said that, I'll recognize Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Don, for that warm welcome. I really appreciate it. As Don said, I'm Matthew Wilson. I'm an MPA student at Western, and I was given the great opportunity to prepare the third annual edition of the Report to the Citizens, which ultimately seeks to inform the people of Jackson County on the county government services and increase transparency as well. What I will be presenting today is not the entire version of the report. It's a condensed one with several departments featured that I took a particular interest in. However, I must say that I enjoyed my experiences, as Don mentioned, with all the departments I met with, and I admire all the work that they do for the people of Jackson County. So as I go along here, please feel free to jump in with any comments or questions you may have on anything you read or something I may say along the way. So starting off here, as you can see, we have a new cover page with our Jackson County Library that was kindly taken and provided to me by our TDA director, Nick Breedlove. So I very much appreciate both him and his camera skills. Moving on down to the county manager's letter, aside from my information in here. This is fundamentally the same as it was in last year's edition, with a new photo of Lady Justice overlooking downtown Silva, also provided by Nick kindly. The table of contents page is still broken down by function, as you can see, whether that be for governance or human services. I will note, though, that there are 2 new additions to this year's report in the Tourism Development Authority under Economic Development and the Sheriff's Office under Government Services. Also, our organizational flow chart for Jackson County is the same as well. I did enhance the resolution of this image, so it's now a bit more readable than the one in last year's edition. Scrolling on down, naturally, I wanted to show the Board of Commissioners how they were presented in this year's report. So aside from a few formatting changes and adding the seal of the state of North Carolina, I included a photo that has our 2 newest commissioners, Mark Jones and Tom Stribling. I would make a side note here, and this is not a feature that is viewable within the report you have in front of you, but I have made photos such as the one you have in front of you clickable. So if people viewing this report online would click this page, it would redirect them to the County Commissioner's webpage on the website where they can find more contact information for each.
Oh, that's great.
Moving on down, while I don't want to overlook the importance of this page, ultimately the Board of Commissioners mission statement, their beliefs and their vision for Jackson County remain the same as in last year. And the first department I wanted to feature in this presentation is that of economic development. And while I wanted to emphasize the important work that Ms. Henry does for Jackson County in these departmental goals, I also wanted to emphasize Jackson County's attractiveness as both a tourist destination as well as a place that people want to come work and live as well. And so in order to achieve that, besides featuring more beautiful photos from Nick Breedlove, I wanted to emphasize economic development's focus, which among other things is supporting our small businesses. And also featuring the various partners that they work with in order to achieve that goal. Smile for the photo. Such as the town of Silva, for example. Moving along, Jackson County's proximity to other notable cities throughout the region, such as Atlanta. I wanted to emphasize not just Jackson County's attractiveness as a getaway destination for somebody in the metro area, but also that it can help serve as a base of operations for families looking to explore the entire Western Carolina region in general. And I think this map really does an excellent job of that.
That's very powerful.
Yeah, I think so as well. Moving on through, highlighting the rich culture and history of the people of Jackson County and what they have to offer, I felt was very important as well. In addition to highlighting the numerous unique outdoor experiences that can be found within Jackson County's borders, such as kayaking at High Falls as depicted here. To close out economic development, I wanted to feature their ongoing efforts with the Buy Local campaign, which essentially just reminds Jackson County residents to keep their dollars here in the county, in the community where it will matter the most, as well as some additional contact information for Ms. Henry and economic development as well. Moving on to the health department, this was a department that I worked with several program coordinators and closely with over a week in order to simplify a lot of the information here, highlight some various other programs that they offer to Jackson County, as well as feature information on their ongoing efforts to vaccinate the people of Jackson County against COVID-19. So as I scroll down here, we see their mission and their departmental goals. For environmental health, we have updated statistics on the Jackson County Animal Shelter for the past fiscal year. Just keep on that for a second. And then moving on through this next page, fundamentally the same from last year, albeit I did have a few formatting changes to improve the readability of the document, as well as the inclusion of the health department logo. Moving on to clinical services, this was a big area where a lot of changes were made, such as simplifying information. And here we have a visual breakdown of the various services that the Jackson County Clinic offers to Jackson County, and as well as a whole section dedicated to COVID-19 and the number of vaccinations they've administered today. Moving along to the health education section, again, really the same information from last year, albeit we have a few new visual aids for some of these sections, such as the Cullowhee Community Garden. Remember the links I mentioned, this would link them straight to their Facebook page where they can learn more information. One new program they wanted me to feature was their Safe Routes to School program, which encourages children, school-age children throughout the county to basically bicycle to and at school, as well as a new visual aid for the Smart Start program. The nutrition services section, again, updated visuals and a bit of improved formatting here. And to close out the health department, they wanted me to feature their diabetes management program and provide a comprehensive amount of information on their office locations, what hours they serve, and the various ways in which people can get in contact with them online and over the phone. And the next department, I was very pleased to meet with and be able to feature for the first time in this document is the Sheriff's Office. And I have to briefly give thanks to Major Queen, who I do not believe is here with us tonight, on helping me get this section of the report complete for the board today. And so since it hasn't been featured before, I thought it best to break it down by the Sheriff's Office various subdivisions. So while we have their mission statement here and their departmental goals, as well as a photo of our Sheriff Chip. If we scroll down, we have the administration section, which goes into their everyday operations and a bit of their office hierarchy. Then we have the patrol division, the marked vehicles that we see throughout the community, and the one that also houses our canines, such as the one pictured here, Lando. Next, we have investigations and the investigations they do for criminal offenses like drug activity, civil process, detention, which houses up to 72 inmates, a tireless job for the folks down there. Courts, the individuals who keep us all secure in this building as we're carrying out our work each and every day, and the SROs, who have been protecting Jackson County schools for as long as I've been alive, since 1998. So, and to close out the Sheriff's Office, I wanted to feature many of the other programs they administer, such as the Shop with a Cop program, which not only is just good for the children, gives them a lot of joy, but it helps provide them with a lot of clothing they may not otherwise have during the winter months and helps keep them warm. And if anybody would like to get in contact with any of these various subdivisions, I've listed the information there. And the last department I wanted to feature, similar to the health department, it has a bit of carryover from last year, but some changes as well, both big and small, as we will soon see. And so here we have their mission statement and their departmental goals for the fiscal year. And if I scroll down, here we have their recreation centers in Cullowhee and Cashers, and their updated fee schedule for this current fiscal year, as well as a new photo for their weight room at the Cullowhee Recreation Center. Next page features the parks and picnic shelters, the Jackson County community pools as well in Silva and Cashers, and the various fees that they offer for individuals to utilize the pools there. And then here's one of the big changes I mentioned. So the aquatic center, which Jackson County voters approved last November by referendum, I have featured in this report. And so in addition to showing the schematics of the approved complex, this section also features information on the various amenities it offers, what their anticipated operating hours will be, as well as when construction is anticipated to begin, which is June of next year. And then to close out Parks and Rec, I have some of the various programs that they offer for children and their parents looking to get their kids out of the house in the summer months, such as Fun for Kids or the British Soccer Camp, and some improved contact information for Rusty and the staff down there. And then to close out, while this report is not about me, I wanted to dedicate my closing remarks to express my gratitude, my sincere gratitude to the board and the county manager, Don Adams, for allowing me to have the opportunity to intern here at Jackson County. And the numerous department heads and county employees I've been able to work with this summer deserve a special thank you as well. My experiences here at Jackson County, I think, have left a deep impression upon me. And I think the numerous lessons that I've learned will serve me well as I am soon to begin what I hope to be a long and successful career in public service. And so with that, I will yield the floor to the board for any further questions or comments.
Questions or comments from the board?
I think you did a great job with your speech there.
Oh,
You did a good job.
Thank you. Took a lot of preparation.
Well, I just want to say this, Matthew, that this, I've read 3 of these, and this one far and away is the most impressive. The writing in this, I'm a retired teacher, it's
So I-
very well done and very user-friendly. And then the pictures that you use really enhance the content. And I just can't say enough about how well done it is. And as a representative of the county, I would just be so proud to show this to anyone. And it's a very, very well done. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Other comments or questions? Matthew, you've done a great job. It's been
Yes.
a tremendous pleasure and honor to have you work here and to serve. And I know every time I would come in, he was at his desk just I always tried to get see if it was, will he look up? But he was always just hard at it. And it very much shows in the level of work that you've done here. It is impressive.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. I
Very
appreciate it.
Commissioner Dees, we'll give you just a second.
I have emergency. I have emergency.
Oh, yes, sir.
Thank you for all you've done. Appreciate that. That's great. This is great. Very articulate. Teach yourself very well. That pay off down the road.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
This your family here.
Yes.
Yes, please introduce them.
Yes, to your left here, this is my mother, Kim Wilson. And to her left is my sister, Morgan Wilson. And seated far over there, yeah, just in case they had to slip out and the meeting took too long, is my father, Sloan Wilson, and my little brother, John Wilson.
Good. Glad y'all with us.
Other questions or comments?
Do you have any opportunities out there when you finish school yet?
I was just speaking with Don on a potential one, but nothing set in stone.
We might have one.
Well, I would welcome that opportunity. Yeah, I would be looking forward to that.
Now, you have a good fellow to work with. He's
Yes,
very
sir.
articulate.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you all.
All right, thank you, sir. Well, let's, I think it'd be very fitting that we approve this report. And so, do I have a motion from the board to approve this annual report to the citizens? Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All right. Madam Clerk, if you would also just note in the minutes, what an excellent report this is. The
Yes.
board is extremely pleased with it. So at that time, back to call the roll, please.
Commissioner Deep,
Yes.
Commissioner Woody,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Strickland,
Yes.
Chairman Knight.
Yes, motion carries. Next is, yes, thank y'all for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for welcoming us. I appreciate that.
Next is item 11. This is the approved final bid for track number 1 of Soapstone Drive at Dillsburg. I put my glasses back on. Ms. Baker.
Well, that's a hard act to follow,
It
but
is.
I'll do my best. We enjoyed having met with us all summer and so glad that to be here to see this. So this is, I think it was back in early June that you approved the original offer to purchase on this property, the Soapstone property. This is the original offer here, the 4,079, I think that says. So I'm bringing back forward to you today the final offer, which is 8,000. So I almost doubled the offer. This was two neighbors. It was three, one that wasn't a neighbor and two that were neighbors that continued bidding on this. And so 8,000 was the final accepted bid, and that did go through the upset bid period with no upset bid. So it's back to you to approve this offer for 8,000.
All right, you've heard the request from our attorney. What's the pleasure of the board on item 11?
I would accept this bid.
Okay. Motion to accept. Is there a second?
Second.
Any question or discussion?
So is this the original person that bid?
It is not.
Oh.
Yeah, the original person, that was, you can see it up here, that was the Agravite Inc., and that was
Oh.
one of 5.
Okay.
And once this was upset, they did not bid again on this.
Okay.
And then we sent the letters out to the neighbors, and it was mostly the two of the
I
neighboring
see.
property owners that did. So this is one of the neighboring properties.
Any other questions or comments? If not, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Strickland,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Woody,
Yes.
Commissioner Deep, Chairman Knight.
Yes, motion carries.
I know it's legal.
Okay, the final item on our business today is item 12. This is the Glenville Campus Rescue Squad for the Rescue Service Coordinator position. Travis, you wanna comment?
Yes, sir. This is a discussion that's held at our work session meeting. Basically, the Glenville Cashers Rescue Squad is requesting that instead of their new service coordinator position being a county employee, they're requesting that it be a direct employee under them, and that the county transfer funds that we would have originally spent on hiring our own employee for those funds to be transferred for their use. So we're just looking for general consensus or approval from the board to proceed forward.
Having heard the request from Glenville Cashers Rescue, what's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion to approve, sir.
Okay, have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Any question or discussion? Hearing none, then Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Deep, Commissioner Woody,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Strickland,
Yes.
Chairman Knight.
Yes, motion carries. Next is our press conference. I believe, you'll have to,
I don't think anyone,
did anyone stay on?
joined us on Zoom.
Okay, I don't have anyone on. I don't think there's anyone here present in the room from the press. So if they have any questions, they're free to follow up with us afterwards. It's my understanding that we do not have need for closed session. So with that being said, if someone was quickly make a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion to adjourn.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Stay dry.